Sports Card Podcast, where we tackle the hobby's hottest topics in depth to help you navigate the sports card landscape and enjoy the hobby we all love. Here's your host, John Newman.
Today's show is a question I get asked a lot as someone who buys and sells and does, creative content creation. I get asked, how would you label yourself? And so I'm going to address that during this Hobby Quick Hits. But before we do that, let's hear from our great sponsor, Mojo Breaks. Hey folks, wanted to tell you about the best place to get some of your sealed sports card wax products. Great selection and some of the lowest prices on the web. MojoBreakShop.com is that place. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they're your guys, and they ship around the world right to your door. The Mojo Break name is one of the most trusted in the hobby. From sports cards to Pokemon, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders. Who won first place at this year's Topps Rip Party? None other than Mojo Break. Their prices are already great, but here's a way to save even more money. Use the code QUICKHITS, that's QUICKHITS, for 10% off anything on MojoBreakShop.com. They also have a full-service card shop in Santa Clara, California. So if you're in the area, stop by. They're open 7 days a week, so check them out at MojoBreakShop.com. All right, welcome to another edition of Hobby Quick Hits. So I get asked questions almost every day, if not every day, 1 to 3, or sometimes more, depending on the day. And sometimes I use that question for Sports Card Nation, the longer podcast in the Newman Ramblings section. And then other times I get a question like today where I have a longer answer, or I really look at the question and say, you know what? That's going to be a Hobby Quick Hits episode, and today is one of those days. And the question, I get asked actually multiple times, so I can't really even credit one person asking this question. I've been asked multiple times, and it's a good question, and sometimes, I think I know the answer straight out, and other times I don't, as far as, literal answer. And so the question I get asked is, a lot of times people say, John, you talk about maybe stuff you're keeping or your new PC with your, Hall of Fame graded rookies, but you also talk about sales and doing shows at a young age and having a store at 20. So what are you? What do you label yourself as? A dealer, a collector, a flipper? You've talked about other times you bought something one day and a day or two later you've turned around and resold it. So are you a flipper? And so, made me think, are you a dealer, flipper, collector? Maybe I'm a deal collector, or maybe I'm a collect dealer, or maybe I'm a collect dealer flipper. I don't know. I probably would say I'm a dealer who collects some things, So, again, doing my first show at 15 years old. I started as a 7-year-old, and I definitely was a collector at 7 years old. And so for 8 years, I didn't sell a card to my recollection. I might have traded with buddies, and I know early on my friends wanted the gum, and I wanted their cards, so I would trade my gum for their cards back when there was gum in those packs. And so, definitely from the age of 7 to 14, I was definitely a straight collector. Sometimes when we talk about collectors, there's people who think like if you sell, you can't, to be a true collector, you can't sell any of your cards. And I don't get off at the same stop with that. You can be a collector, maybe sell your duplicates or sell cards you don't want. I don't think that makes you not a collector. We like to put labels on people. We like to put people in boxes. And if you know anything about me, My saying is hobby your way, right? There's more than one way to hobby. Choose whatever way makes you happy, allows you to enjoy the hobby. You can change your mind at any time. I did this show a couple weeks ago about be the CEO of your hobby. And so I'm not a big label guy. I'm not put someone in a box. I get it to a certain extent. But you can wear multiple hats, right? I have 40 hats in my office here hanging up in a hat rack. I could wear a new hat every day for 40 days and not wear the same one twice. And I think the hobby is sort of along those lines too. You can, sell some stuff one day. You can buy some stuff another day. You can trade some stuff another day. You can put stuff away for years. You can get something on Monday and sell it on Tuesday. And none of that's wrong as long as it's legal and above board. And so going back to the question, what are you, John, that I get? How would you describe your hobby, as a hobbyist? What are you? Dealer, collector, flipper? Again, I probably would say, dealer for sure. I pay sales tax. I have a sales tax number. I do shows. And so I definitely have to say a dealer, but I also keep certain things. And so that makes me a collector. And I think most dealers are collectors in some form or fashion. It's just what level, right? When I had my store back in 92 to 97, one of the problems I talked about is I got attached to certain cards and they never made it out into the showcases for sale. And so I was probably more of a collector than a dealer / collector. That was closer to, it wasn't 50-50, but it was probably closer to 70-30, 60-40 than it is today. Today, I think I'm still a dealer collector, minus the store. I still make quite a decent amount of sales, but I'm attached less to the cards. In other words, one of the reasons I didn't sell a lot of my cards back in my store days is I got sort of attached to them in a weird sort of way, and I just said, I don't want to sell that one, and I didn't put it out. And why? I don't, for various different goofy reasons, right? Today in 2021 here, I learned through trial and error not to get attached to these things. While I love them and have a passion for them, at the end of the day, it's a picture of usually a male athlete on a piece of cardboard or chrome, and it's fun and it's cool looking and awesome it is to own them and have them and look at them. That's what they are. And if you can get some cold hard cash and a considerable amount for certain sums of these, then I do it, and then I consider it even on ones that I may not pull off the transaction. And so I've gotten less attached. My PC, barring this new project which I've started with Hall of Fame graded rookie cards, which I had a little bit of a head start on. Besides that, I don't PC a ton. Some Jackie Robinson stuff and some Mean Joe Green, some Steelers stuff, a little bit of Ranger stuff with rookies, and that's it. Really, everything else is either listed or potentially available to purchase. And quite frankly, even the stuff that I said is that little PC I have, that stuff technically is available. Everything has a price, right? People say, I'll never sell this. There is a price that will make anyone sell any particular item. It might be a very high one. It might not even be a realistic one. That may never actually happen, which is why that item might not get sold. But everything has a price. Some are just higher than others. So, as I've gotten older, I've gotten less attached to the cards. Maybe that just comes with the age factor. Maybe it just comes with, realizing the value of $1 may be more in my 30s and 40s than when I was 20 to 25, if you will. And, I've sort of pivoted on what I do. So, but I think I wear different hats. Definitely a dealer as a sales tax paying seller. So definitely a dealer since 15 years old. So my 33rd year of being a licensed, if you will, sales tax collector, dealer, that sort of thing. And definitely collector. I mean, there are cards, like I said, while every card has a price, I do have cards on what I call my PC. And those PC cards are not listed on any platforms. You're not going to find them on eBay, on StarStock, on ConC, on SportLots, or MySlabs, or anywhere else, right? They're my cards. They're not listed. I'm not looking to sell them. But if someone knows that I have that, or is here and knows I own that card, or maybe I've even posted that card as a PC card on my social medias, and there comes an offer in that is, worthy of consideration, then even a PC card can be sold. And that's why I get off at the exit where, people, the purists who say you can't be a true collector if you even consider or sell your cards. I don't subscribe to that magazine, if you will. I think you can still be a collector and sell some of your stuff. I don't see the crime and the foul in that. I don't know how that changes the fact that you collect cards. So, a collector, you collect things, right? I collect cards. Some I sell, some I don't list. I'm still a collector. I'm a dealer. I pay sales tax since 15 years old. So I definitely wear that hat. Now, the flipper one is probably the grayest area, what is a flipper? Do you buy it on what day and sell it on what day? What's the difference from a flipper to a dealer, right? As a dealer, even in my card store, I bought cases of cards, right? And they might have got delivered on a Tuesday. And by Thursday or Friday, that whole product was sold out. Did I flip it? I guess. I think I just sold it. So, I guess flipper has a sort of a negative connotation to it from people who use it. It's almost like you're not really in the hobby. You're on that weird fringes, and you're just in it for dollar signs, and you're not a true hobby. We like that word true, right? We hear it in sports even. He's a true Yankee. He's a true Dodger. He's a true this. He's a true that. What does that really mean? Who sets those rules? It's such an arbitrary and subjective thing. What makes a true Yankee? Someone who, I think you ask two different Yankee fans, you might get two different answers to that question when I hear that. Well, one guy says, true Yankee comes up through their farm system and is drafted by them and then makes the big leagues as a Yankee, right? Someone else will say a true Yankee, believes in the Yankee way, whatever that is, right? All these superlatives. Like, what is it? Isn't anyone who's a current member of the Yankee a true Yankee? They're on the Yankees, right? I'm using them as an example because it's kind of commonplace around here in the New York area to use the term true Yankees, right? True collector, true flipper, right? Flipper. What's a flipper? I think anyone that sells is a flipper, right? You have the product and you flip it for sale, most likely for a profit, right? That makes you a flipper. What is to be those who argue, well, if you have to sell it quick. Well, what's the time frame? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days? Where's the line where I'm a reseller and not a flipper? Is it between 3 and 4? Who makes those rules up, right? So I get where the flippers come from. I'm not naive. I've been in this hobby a long time. I understand a lot of what the people call flippers are new folks coming into the hobby, looking to buy something quickly and sell something quickly at a higher rate of profit, of ROI. I get it. I'm not, saying that flippers aren't necessarily a real thing, but to me, they're just dealers or sellers that are just not willing to hold stuff as long. So I guess that's a little longer to say than flipper. But I think they're resellers who do not want to wait to maximize their profit. They just want to make their profit and on to the next thing. And so, again, I'm not a big fan of labels. And so if you ask me, describe myself like I get so often asked to do, might be the cop-out answer, but I'm a dealer collector. And, as someone who's bought something on Monday and sold it on Tuesday, maybe that even qualifies me as a flipper. I may not consider that definition as part of what I do, but someone else might beg to differ. So let me close with this. I'm a little of everything. I believe in hobby any way you so choose. Enjoy the hobby. If you want to make a little money, as I do, through the hobby, and you're doing it legally, and you're paying taxes and paying Uncle Sam his cut, then you're not hurting no one. You're keeping the economy going, and you hobby your way, as I often say a lot of times. And this segment is no different. Hobby your way, enjoy it any way you see fit, and don't worry about those labels. Hey folks, thanks for listening to the show. Wanted to give out our social media links where you can follow the show even when you're not listening to it. On Twitter, we are at Hits Hobby, HitsHobby. On Instagram, we are at Hobby Quick Hits Podcast, at Hobby Quick Hits Podcast, all one word. Our website is www.sportscardnation.net. Look for the link to Hobby Quick Hits. You'll find us there. And you can always text us on our text line, area code 315-491-0239.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.